politics. This is douglAR politics. Yeah, oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. Yeah, douglAR politics.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. A little hiccup at the start there. Sorry about that. Now we're going to start off the show. I don't know what to say about my people, you know. There was an accident recently on the highway by Gasparillo there. And we have video footage from a citizen who was driving below the speed limit. I don't know if the driver of the car is still alive. I have not checked at the time of airing. But if he or she is still alive, then I hope that they have a handcuff on them and have them handcuffed to the bed, whether they're in ICU, HDU, or whatever hospital they're in. Because a child died. A child was killed in this accident. But I cannot even use the term accident to describe it. Because when you get into a car and you drive like a total abject idiot, without information, without skill, without thought, when you drive at speeds that a car was not designed for, a wing road, you know. A wing road is not designed for speed. It is not a BMW driving machine with a different torque and a differential and low and tested for speed by the greatest drivers, or a Subaru or any one of these sports cars. A wing road is a family vehicle for middle to low income people to move around, to have good space for their children, for their groceries and so on. A wing road is not meant for maniac speed. Secondly, to have a child in a car and drive like a complete jackass could not be an accident. A child flew out of a car. That meant the child was not even restrained by a seat belt. So that cannot be an accident. A child has lost their life because of abject, total negligence, wickedness, and stupidity. I want you all to look carefully at this video footage before the accident. Actually run it, and let me say I've watched this over and over. The car in which the camera in, you could run it Archie and leave my mic up. The car in which the video is in, this car, oh God, look at that car going there already. So this car is going about 80 or 90 kilometers, just below the speed limit. So that car that flew past them, and you could rewind it to the top there, Archie, that car had to be going a minimum of 160 kilometers per hour in a wing road, a vehicle that is long, that is made for cruising, for family life. This is where the crash just lower down. A wing road at that speed On a road, the highway that everybody knows has not been maintained well. It's full of dips, sinks. That car would have gone airborne for a split second, a microsecond. And cars like that are not designed for that sort of speed, once they go airborne, as they touch back down, the driver, who is a total idiot and not skilled, will have pulled the wheel a little bit and lost control. That child was killed due to stupidity. I would love to have an update and a report from the police on what exactly is the charge for that driver, if the driver is still alive. The minimum charge will be manslaughter, but because of the total criminal negligence and that you ought to have known, and the excessive speed above minimum 160, I really believe that car was traveling at about 175 kilometers per hour. All right, around a corner, and in Trinidad and Tobago, where drivers, Granny does drive on the right hand side, Johnny does drive on the left, people just change lane without indicating, the roads in bad conditions, in a wing road with a child unrestrained, and the child lost their life. And you all find that's funny. Where the hell you was going? So where you was going? The only positive is that that fool who was driving didn't kill another family, or two more families, or people in a maxi. Police are waiting for the update. I didn't see any further information. As we said, police, DCP Jacobs, no functioning scanners at the Port of Spain port and the Joint Select Committee. Parliamentarians appeared stunned and disturbed yesterday over the disclosure that no scanners are operational at the port of Port of Spain, and 3 officers are tasked to manually inspect. 3 officers tasked to manually inspect the thousands of containers coming in Trinidad and Tobago. Now I laugh, but I only laugh because I don't want to cuss. Okay? Containers that enter this country. Acting Police Commissioner McDonald Jacob, who appeared before the Joint Select Committee, had said previously that the majority of guns entering the country are not coming through illegal borders, but through legal ports. How he know that? That is a brilliant, them is just talk. How you know exactly how many guns coming through the porous borders without diesel, without Coast Guard vessels, without radar, without helicopter, without roadblock, without army base, without anything, with the 200,000 illegal immigrants that have come here in the last 5 years, and half of them gone back so now. How you know exactly how many guns came in that way, and how you know how many exactly the number of guns that came through the legal ports while the scanners weren't working? How you know? You don't know. You're just talking nonsense in serious issues. Deputy Controller Yasmin Harris said the container examination is compromised due to staff shortage. So they have no scanners, and then they also have staff shortages because PNMA pay nobody no salary and cut back, so recusers could make money. So staff shortages. The containers are being checked through physical examination. Unfortunately, that is the best available avenue at this point. That is the best available avenue at this point. You have a drug problem, crime scourge, people getting killed and rattled down with AR-15 day in, day out. Children lying up on the floor as bullets whiz over their head. And the people in charge of trying to prevent guns from coming in this country through the legal ports, forget the borders, because the incompetence of Fitzgerald Hines Rowley et al., that only God could save we from that. But the legal ports, where it's supposed to be easy to prevent any gun from coming through, because there's technology, there's scanners, they have people who could check, you have staff. Not only they have no scanner, they have no staff. They're short. It's 3 officers to check containers, big huge containers with all kind of different things, where gun could be choke up, mix up, it inside TV, inside fridge, wherever it is. Them have people, human beings. 3, staff shortage. and then coming to talk about crime fight. They're being checked. Unfortunately, that is the best available avenue at this point in time. We do not have sufficient staff. Our container examination station has 14 bays, but unfortunately, the staff that we have, we can only assign 3 examination officers. So you have 14 bays, but they can only assign 3 officers at this time with no scanners at Port of Spain. So our efficiency is compromised by the fact that we have limited staff, she said. How long has this been going on? How long have the scanners not been working? And then that's also a stymie to business, and that adds when you have to pay demurrage and all kind of thing. That leads to inflation because businessmen have to spend more money when the 30 days up on the port because they didn't get their container checked by the 3 officers. That had to go on to you, pass on to you, because that is increase the cost and increase the cost of doing business. But Richie Sukai says, or first of all, the Downtown Owners and Merchants Association Duma head Gregory Aboud says, unacceptable. Said this was not welcome news, as he noted that Acting Police Commissioner McDonald Jacob had said guns were coming through the legal ports given to utilizing external services, says Gregory Aboud. So the government should consider appointing private operators or experts in X-ray and scanning to operate facilities in which customs officers. So Gregory Aboud's solution is for he and the boys to make big contract to get work to do. Not to tell the government, come out of office and let somebody who knows how to handle it, who will pay proper staff, who will pay wages, ensure that the establishment is filled with officers, ensure that the scanners are working. Don't do that. It's terrible. They create a terrible situation. So in comes Gregory Aboud, they say, hey, give me brethren them a contract, we go do it. Gregory, that's just amazing, son. You on a roll this month, boy. They go say I picking on you. Then my boy, sweet boy Richie Sukai, never hear what Richie Sukai says. Shagwana's Chamber, Industry and Commerce, Richie Sukai said it is no surprise that the scanners have been down. He said the Prime Minister, as head of National Security Council, should take the lead and ensure that there are scanners at the port as of yesterday. Taking charge will definitely drive this initiative forward in a positive way. People would understand the implications of not having these scanners working. Sukai said, it seems the authorities have no will to change the way things have been done. Therein lies the truth, the crux of the matter. Rowley take charge. Rowley has been in charge. Shamfa told us that from since 2015 September that they in charge and we have to get accustomed to it. Rowley take charge. Where is Rowley? The ghost. Where's Rowley the ghost? People flooding and suffering, lost everything across this country. Thousands and thousands of families. Where is Rowley? You think crime, the worst murder rate in history, you can't see Rowley? No scanners? But do you think those scanners just stop working the day before the Joint Select Committee? Do you all think so? You see, when the opposition is making critical points day in, day out, issue after issue, and the media, you all fail to take it seriously because you are politically biased and you're trying to uphold a miscreant, a non-entity, an incompetent Prime Minister that is Keith Christopher Rowley and the PNM. You let critical matters fall by the wayside and people's lives are put at risk. What if I were to tell you that the United National Congress way back in October was alerting the nation that the scanners weren't working? What if I were to tell you that the Member of Parliament for Couva South, the Honorable Rudy Indassing, brought that to the attention of the nation in a press conference put on by the opposition, the United National Congress, and no newspaper, no Express, no Guardian, no Newsday, no Morning Brew, no CNC3, no TV6, no radio stations took it seriously. No journalists went to ask and find out and check, and guns are coming in here left, right, and center. 561 murders heading to 600 murders, and you all don't care because leave PNM because we have money to make. What if I were to tell you that Rudy Indar Singh brought up that topic months ago? Run it, Archie.
Because you see, I have to ask the questions again on behalf of the opposition. Why are the mobile scanners not working on the ports of Trinidad and Tobago? My information and my sources have revealed to me that only if one fixed scanner is working at the port of Port of Spain, and at a time when the murders are gruesome, when the violence is being unleashed on the population through the use of automatic rifles and the proliferation of guns and ammunition in Trinidad and Tobago, this country needs more scanners at our respective ports and at warehouses which fall under customs and excise. What is the state of the coastal radar systems? How many? Fitzgerald Hines must tell us what is the state of the coastal radar system. How many Coast Guard vessels are indeed seaworthy and can engage in the patrolling of our borders? Have we allocated adequate sums of money?
You see, when you all play games with people's lives, this is not a funny game. Iramatul, what say you, Matt? What say you, editors of the Express, the Newsday, the Guardian, CNC3, TV6? Forget TTT, PNM, bodies. Then let's get PNM free advertisement and charge UNC 45,000 per hour. This is funny. The Port of Spain had no scanner in 2022, and that was Rudy Indar Singh found out about that. That was early October. So if the scanners broke down from before that, you talking about August, you talking about July, June, whenever. How many guns, how many bullets, how much ammunition just came in? And then on top of that, under PNM mismanagement, you're talking about staff shortage, so you don't even have manpower to go and look. Not that manpower is really that in this day and age. But Gary Griffith also said something. He said that when he was Commissioner of Police, he went and asked the cabinet, and the cabinet approved through Rowley and them to buy vehicles that could scan. Remember how many times I'm telling you all, but how these disgusting bandits driving around with AR-15 3 and 4 submachine gun in a car, how they just driving around and then escaping in traffic? How come we don't have vehicles, police vehicles driving around that could scan and see man sitting down with AR-15 on the lap in a wing road, in a Tida, in them car that we see in all the videos, man just opening door and killing people? Why that not happening? You know the government of Trinidad and Tobago, when Gary Griffith was there, purchased those things, and the government under Keith Rowley and Fitzgerald Ethelbert Hines and DCP Jacobs, who got his job because Rowley wanted him there. You know they're not using it. Why they're not using them? Or you think I'm joking? Put up Gary Griffith's statement. What was not revealed, however, was after extensive intelligence was gathered, it had allowed us to anticipate the issues which presently exist at our nation's ports, and proactively we acquired vehicles that could do scanning which were used at roadblocks to assist the TTPS in seizing illegal firearms during my tenure as head of the TTPS. These vehicles could be immediately deployed to the ports. So these vehicles were used in roadblocks and could move around and see what gun but they could also be used to scan in the port if the scanners break down. So why are you not doing that? Look at that. Where the gun go hide when you had that? When you see that, where the gun, you go find the gun. You want to send 3 men inside there to do what? To crawl in there and look with binoculars? But do you know something? Let's listen to DCP Jacob now, Archie. DCP Jacob, when asked, and DCP Jacob, sir, every day you open your mouth, you let the country know why you came 6th when you applied way back when, and why you could never and should never be in a leadership position. Just like you went to wage war on the boys down in Rich Plain in Diego Martin when it was your own police who killed the man and they could not even tell you and did not respect you to tell you. Every time you open your mouth, sir, you bring the police service into disrepute. That a dunderhead like yourself could be at the top. It doesn't augur well. Listen to DCP Jacob. McDonald Jacob said yesterday they were eating away 1.8 million of Trinidad and Tobago police service budget. So he said the scanners that could see killing weapons in a car, going to kill people, he put a cost on it. That is too expensive. I want you to understand what this man is saying. 1.8 million. Because they have a company, it's leased, and they have its technology, so the company have to manage, maintain, ensure, read out, do the right. But I'm asking you all citizens, whether 1.8 million, 10 million, 15 million, if you have technology that deployed on the roads could prevent killers from moving around with rifles, submachine guns, AR-15 and so on, and catch them when they're moving to do the killing, or after they do the killing, you could find them, get the guns off the streets. You think that is really an issue that requires a budgetary connotation? So let's see DCP Jacob, 561 murders. Let's say you utilize this machinery, these X-ray things, and you get 200 guns off the street, 20 AR-15s, some 9mm, 4 submachine guns, and so on, and you save 10 lives, let's say. Is that worth the money? The 10 lives that you saved? What about if it's 20 lives you save? Is that worth the money DCP does? What about if you save 100 lives? DCP does, if you utilize this technology properly. What about if you save 561 lives? Then is it worth it? He continued. He said, to date, the top cop said the vehicles cannot be utilized to scan containers at the port. Well, you lie, because I research and all over the world, these things could be used anywhere to scan anything, whether on a ship, off a ship, in a container, in a building, in a truck, on the road. So you are talking total nonsense. You are a liar. Furthermore, he continued, in response to questions from the Express yesterday, Jacob said there were also occupational health and safety issues in relation to the risks associated with scanning vehicles occupied with pulse. You know about occupational health and safety for X-ray, low-level radiation, for people utilizing the technology to stop gun from killing people, bullet from killing. You know about the health and safety day, but you don't know about health and safety of leaving 4 men in a pipe to dead for 39 hours at DCP PNM dance. Jacob said, because of the high cost, The National Security Ministry reviewed the agreement with the company, and discussions are ongoing as to where they can be used in other areas of law enforcement. So DCP Jacobs and Fitzgerald Sleepy Narcoleptic Sativa Hines decided 1.8 million a month is too much to save lives, so them not utilizing technology that could catch bandits with gun in car on the roads going to kill. And then you all wonder why we are in a total mess when there are total dunces in charge of us. TTMA Manufacturers Association President Trisha Kusal said she's alarmed at 19,000 containers entered Trinidad and Tobago unchecked. Well, ma'am, you are alarmed, but it's your father who was moving with Rowley right through when they were trying to lie on Kamla. Andrew Gabriel, Kusal, and Rohan Sinanan was Rowley three brethren moving with him, who uplifted him to Prime Minister, who is now in charge, who allowed 19,000 containers to come in unchecked. You understand, Ms. Kusal? And while you're alarmed at that, you're not alarmed at this. Did your company do this work? Actually, show the work now. We want to know if you're alarmed at the work in Kumuto on this road. Is this, I'm asking, did Kusal do this work? And when this work collapsed, after 1 month being repaired in Kumuto, they spelled that wrong. The contractor was Kusal's. Is it or was it Kusal's? Did you all do that job? And what are you going to remedy that? Or are you going to get paid again after you did shoddy work? Is that what you and Rohannes do? Is that what the PNM does? See, and this kind of work going on.
Who are the real criminals?
Well, the other ask he that. So the HSF also declined by 15% in the first half of this year. The Heritage and Stabilization Fund. That's your money. But on top of that, you want to know why it declined also? Remember I told you all, why is Coleman budgeted at $92.50 a barrel when the price was about there? Why did he go up right to the tippy top when convention and previous ministers of finance always leave a little cushion? So like in 2004, while the price was up at 140, 150 US a barrel, Patrick Manning and the PNM budgeted at $80, $82 a barrel. And when in 2010 to 2015 the price went up above $118, $120 a barrel, the People's Partnership budgeted at $75, $82 per barrel, leaving that cushion, which also meant that once there was a 10% increase over the budgeted price, that money automatically had to be saved and go into the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. Coleman is against saving for your future generation. He hates saving. Coleman's mission is to spend every cent. So he budgeted at $92.50 per barrel. But yesterday, the price went up by 67 cents and so on. But the price for Brent crude for February delivery was $86.88. And for the last month, it has been in the 80s. But Coleman budgeted at $92.50. So you already have a built-in deficit, and you already have a position that not 1 cent could possibly be saved for your children down the years. Because Coleman is not about saving for you. They are about recusing for themselves. Expect increase in grocery bills. That's for you, as inflation causes prices to soar. And we're going into Christmas, and we just had flooding. Do not expect a decrease in your grocery bill anytime soon, as Trinidad and Tobago's soaring inflation will extend into 2023. The high cost of shipping internationally, compounded by the economic slowdown in China, one of our largest suppliers, is contributing to this, said UE of the University of the West Indies, UE financial economist Dr. Valmiki Arjun. Prices rise sky high. Disastrous floods take a toll on cost of vegetables and fruits. PNM did not dredge the river mouths. They did not dredge the Caroni, Dago Martin, Mahaval, whatever river. They did not dredge them for 7 years. They cut back on that because they did not want to spend that money, because they wanted to spend money when Noel Garcia in charge. Mille Fleur, President's House, Red House, Airport, things were Rowley and his brethren. Look at this one hiding. Where's the ghost? While people flooding and drowning. But now, the spin-off effects, you know who have to pay more now? You. Because you all selected this fool, this dunce, this heartless, old, legalized thieving machine. It's not funny anymore, is it? Central Bank relinquishes control of Cleco. Well, Alvin Hilaire, I withdraw your bucket now, sir. Now you're 4 years late, Alvin Hilaire, but it's very good to see that the bucket brought some rationality and some sense to you. I withdraw your bucket now. Now, Alvin Hilaire, you now have to use your influence to ensure that the liquidators do not go along with the government of Colm Imbert to do what they have been doing. You must ensure that the shareholders of Cleco and CL Financial get back the company, and ensure we, the government, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, get back the money. But they have said, and you are well aware, that the 1.3 billion left to pay off could be paid off quite easily. So Alvin Hilaire, you've done the right thing. Well done. You've come out of the Golden Grove bucket brigade because you've now followed the law. But Grant Thornton, are you all going to facilitate the continued decimation and liquidation of a company by Colm Imbert and the PNM? Grant Thornton, is that how you all operate? Is that the right thing to do? Or is it the right thing to do at this time, when 96% of the debt has been repaid, to return the company to private hands? A company that was created, corporation by black people, that has been decimated by the so-called black PNM. You see? And you all like to bring race into things, don't you? Money to burn, says Al-Rawi. Al-Rawi reveals local government's burn rate, says the ministry aims to spend 400 million in the next 6 months, and then 1 billion planned for 2023. So that's what these men do. They love to put you under pressure, suffer you, create devastation and emergencies throughout the land, make you desperate for roadworks, roads crumbling, landslides, and you just don't care. You need it fixed. And in come the people who suffered you to spend your money without procurement, legalized thieving, without tender, with glitch in it, with overruns of 194 to 200%. Spend out your money, recusal after recusal. That's what they do. And you know how they do it? Because you vote for them, because you say, Kamala give you a banana. So Al-Rawi and them, who have you all suffering, who have left everything to collapse, who have your pocket empty, now going to take your taxpayers' dollars and burn it fast, burn it. We're going to burn it. We're going to spend 400 million 6 months. But didn't I tell you all this? Did the UNC tell you all that this is the strategy that PNM uses to thief? They create an emergency, build the pressure, then come in like heroes with a solution that means them make money. Run it, Archie. We told you the PNM way to thief is create an emergency, build the pressure, then swoop in with some kind of thing, and it have money in it for them to make. Run it and remind them.
But surely this sabotage thing was just a conspiracy theory. Why would a government do this to its own people, to its own system? Why would they suffer their own people like that? Why would they suffer? Why would they undermine? Why would they undermine the very economy that they were elected to manage? Well, the story continues. At first, the people felt annoyed and inconvenienced. Then as the days went on, there was agitation at the loss of work, time, business, and money. As days became weeks, anger, resentment, and panic was brewing as the entire operations and businesses started falling apart. We saw mounting stress, despair, pressure, and loss as weeks becoming months and then years. Then, at the almost climatic point of desperation, in comes the self-proclaimed bald-headed hero, accompanied by his small pin sidekick, and with a grandiose announcement that they shall save the day. Like the boss man in the previous movie, they swept in to burst the pipeline and relieve the pressure that they themselves had created, taking the country's resources into their own hands. Flouting and bypassing good governance, transparency, proper procurement, accountability, tendering, evaluation, pushing aside the officials they themselves appointed, joyriding across the planet, negotiating directly with suppliers over scotch and shrimps, acquiring new vessels in the most unscrupulous, unprofessional, corrupt manner, all under the guise of saving the day. Remember, undermine the system, create an emergency, let the pressure peak at the moment of utter desperation. Play hero, distract the people, then drain the resources and plug.
Don't say I didn't tell all you know. Don't say I didn't tell all you. Don't say Rudy and Dancing didn't tell all you. Don't say Kamla didn't tell all you. Don't say Munilal didn't tell all you. Don't say Rishi Sicharan didn't tell all you. Don't say Jolene John didn't tell all you. Don't say Wade Mark didn't tell all you. Don't say Saddam Hussein and Dinesh Rambali didn't tell all you. Don't say Michelle Benjamin and Victor Roberts didn't tell all you. Don't say that. Topic after topic after topic after topic. The UNC has shown you all what this nasty, disgusting, thieving PNM is doing. And you're just suffering. Do you know a middle class family which does not exist anymore, we're all falling down into the poor, pays 90 to 100,000 a year to put Rowley as Prime Minister as opposed to Kamla? 100,000 TTU pay. A family of 4, professional class, university degree, salary, 2 salary per household. For Keith Rowley to sit in that chair of Prime Minister, you take out of your money, your savings, your future earnings for your children to go away and go to university, that Randall Mitchell say you are stupid and dotish to send your children away when they collapse the economy and US is not available because of the PNM's incompetence, that you are dotish for sending your children away, having your TT here and not being able to buy US. And you all vote for them to tell you that you're dotish. What do you want me to say again? But yes, money to burn, says Al-Rawi. The 3 posh man, the indemnity man, the get rent man, 23 million by 2, 46 million plus 38 million to outfit his own building. The recusal man, he and his partner recuse themselves 100 times from cabinet for personal benefit. He coming to spend all your money without procurement legislation when he brought legislation into the parliament to gut what Kamla had. Kamla had your money safe as it could be. Them come and bring legislation and an independent senator vote for that. And our next one now saying, oh my goodness, it's our life. Procurement legislation is our life. But they sit down in the Senate and they let our lives go down the drain by allowing the PNM with a simple majority to gut what Kamla had there to protect your money so the PNM could legalize thieving. And now they're boasting in your face as you suffer, yes. Because all you must be knows, but Anil, the roads have to fix, they have to do the work. Oh my goodness, it's horrendous. Yes, that's what they wanted. Because had they done the work continuously, it would not have cost so much now. Had they done the work properly and the maintenance and the drains and they took care of everything and they didn't have 4 billion gallons of water leaking under the roadways every month for the last 6 years, then we would not have to spend that huge amount of money. So there could not be that huge amount of thieving. So yes, they left it alone to create the emergency, just like they did with the sea bridge. And then Prime Minister and his sidekick went and procured vessels. Where in God's name in corporate governance Have you ever heard a prime minister and his minister and the office of the prime minister going and meeting with suppliers and negotiating contract and drinking and reviewing tender and offering one? Where have you all ever heard that? And you all vote for that. Then Newsday now join Express, because remember the Express said the PNM, it's clear that they just don't want to proclaim legislation, not even the gutted weak one, that they just want to leave it there and spend out your money without any checks and balances. That's the Express. Now we are Newsday. Procurement law skittishness. Newsday, page 12, section A, Sunday, November 27th. If there were any doubt about the importance of enforcing the Procurement Act, it should have been settled by the shenanigans of the Wait, I forgot. The Newsday come to say they have skittishness about the procurement of the act, right? And the only example the Newsday could find of improper procurement is the PDP-THA. The PDP-THA, not the Bridgman's crooked money that Rowley approved, not the HDC contract that Rowley was the Minister of Housing, not the Delphi Gate, not Noel Garcia, not the ferries that they're going to spend down and come and give out one to Hostel, one to Incat. None of that. Them going to talk about the THA in the recent months where the administration has now run roughshod over established practices to build an ill-advised stage at NDC. Really? I want to hold that. I'm coming back to that just now. But when you talk about legalized thieving, look what has come out, Archie, when you legally thief. Where Bali house? Snake house? Run it.
Pleasant good day to everyone. Citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, this is what you have all voted for. This is what you voted for. Look at it here now. Public servants, poor people of Trinidad and Tobago. This is why public servants, why you cannot receive a good wage increase in salary. This is why. See what you see in there? You see, look at it closely. Look at it closely. And I'm certain that there are PNM fanatics who go and jump on this and say, and defend this, They're going to defend this in the love of politics. We love you, so we take good care of you. They're going to defend this. I know mathematician, but I sure it come from 1 to 100. And I'm certain no $200 raffle could suffice or add up the money, the sum of money to construct this building. That they said that it allegedly costing $50 million. I don't know $50 million for what. I will look at it see. But anyway, so public servants, poor people, will have a decision to make in 2023 and 2025. Local election and general election. Have a tough decision to make. It's not a tough decision for me. But if you want to put your country first and family first, and for us to come out of this curse, this political curse that we're in, PNM, and try to get change the government to look for change. And if,
but that's what I like what all of y'all do, even the fella on that video. You see how we after the whole thing is PNM Balisi House. Where the money coming from? Who are the contractors? How come different contractors pouring cement, bringing steel? Where's the accountability? Rowley say make 30 million in a raffle, you know. But you know the man talk and show in UNC. You see how they're nasty and disgusting, and that is totally unfair, and that is in nonsense at all you put. Because the UNC don't have no house built up, so the UNC renting, they just laugh at me and say we have to move out, we get kicked out of RNZ and so on. Francomet, the UNC brought procurement legislation, strong, special majority brought it there in 5 years, Kamla, Prasad Bisesa, Rowley, Paris and Rawi, the PNM and an independent senator, come and got it, and you making a video, talking thieving, and calling UNC also. You all need to stop the nonsense and the lies. The system is failing persons with disabilities, says independent Senator Paul Richards. We really have to get past the idea that providing for families or children with disabilities or children with special needs, we're doing somebody a favor. Well, Senator Paul Richards, if you take your head out of Rowley's K-Pax, you would know that Kamala Persad-Bissessar, when she was Prime Minister, she had different programs, grants, and she moved the mountains for the differently able to get resources across the board. Whether it was grants to go into private schools, 2,500 per student per term, whether it was special needs or Special Olympics, Paralympics, sports camps during Easter and summer specifically designed for special needs, whether it was the autism grant, whether it was increase in education and assessment of children and specialized training for teachers to deal with those children who were differently able, bringing them up. If it was increased funding for the Blind Institute, the deaf, for their sporting programs across the board, Kamala Persad-Bissessar was implementing programs for differently able children, for Down syndrome children, and for all children who are differently able. The PNM came in and cut everything, and now you are just lumping everybody together because you are unable to speak the truth, Senator, Independent Senator Paul Richards. All right, so go back and read some cabinet notes that Kamala Persad-Bissessar had there for children who are differently able under Tim Gopi Singh and under Fazal Karim across the board, including TechVoc. Opportunities that are bounded, not only just grants to take. Do you know that the PNM took away grants based on a means test? If a child has parents, if the parents have an autistic child, Kamala Persad-Bissessar said that grant goes to the child, regardless of what the parents do. The PNM come and say, if you are a parent and you have a good job, you cannot get that grant. That makes sense. Did you say anything? You're an independent senator. You're supposed to criticize changes that do not redound to the benefit of the citizens. Paul Richards always really have no shame, you know. Really and truly. Now, actually, I was not getting involved in this situation, you know. I see a young man from the Beatam and the big newspaper front page and think that he became a lawyer. The only thing I say is that why do we have to celebrate one fella coming from the Beatam to become a lawyer? If you understand and you are a government that understands the problems and how they are created, the lack of resources, the lack of opportunities, and you are in charge of the treasury, then you direct resources to the at-risk communities, like what Kamala Persad-Bissessar was doing, whether it is live sport that they like to criticize and talk crime and so on, that was designed to get in there to those most that need, give them money, give them food in the belly so that they could have a little bit to survive, then identify their talent, give them discipline, teamwork, form companies to do little business, show them and teach them, move them into training, MIC, NESC, give them guidance counselors, psychologists, do a literacy and numeracy, which the supplier was playing the fool and there was a contract dispute there. That's what live sport was. That's what education was. That's what building schools there was. Keeping the good. That's what giving laptops was for. That's what allowing gate was for. That was increased jobs in URP and CPEP, also to give the parents some money in their hands so that the children could get to school. That's why the fuel subsidy was left there, so poorer people could have transport and transportation costs would have stayed down. That's why textbook grants were there to give opportunities, to create some equity in the system. The PNM comes in and removes all of that. And now they boast, and the PNM media say, all right, a fella from the Beatam become a lawyer. Well, I was very happy for him, because if you could come out from such circumstances that have been thrust upon you by the PNM, and that has left you there suffering in the worst situations from time you was a baby, come forward, and you could rise out of that. That is greatness. I respect and love that. That is brilliant. I applaud that. But I think I applauded too soon because I didn't know the truth. I wasn't aware, and I didn't go and research because that I have bigger issues to deal with Rowley and Smallpin and Convent Girl and them, the recusal twins, Noel Garcia. But I have some questions now. If standards are lowered for someone to get into something, it means that they did not achieve, they did not overcome the circumstances that were thrust upon them to make the grade and to get in. It means that they were put in there through a shortcut, and that they were privileged to get access to a shortcut. That is not worthy of praise. It's not. How did this one get the shortcut? Then we see that it's politically tainted. That's not something to clap about. If an individual comes from harsh circumstances and gets up and makes the grade and thrives and performs, that is worthy of celebration to the rooftop. Not if somebody comes from hard circumstances and because they go in a political party, they get some way to lower the standard to sneak them in through the back door and get them. That's not right. So all you make me applaud, I didn't know. Because actually run the first video. Listen to this carefully because this is very sad. Run it.
Gentlemen, our young people, we can't afford to play Russian with us. We have Dr. the Honorable Christopher Rowley. We know things have been tough because the economy has been tough, the world has been tough. We have tough things to come with, but we have dealt with it, and we will come out. We will come out, and we will vote resoundingly and make the right choice. Patrick, I got the cases by how? I call him on the website. Beat who? How? Where? Not coming up with sad decessor. Not in 2020. Not now. Not ever again.
Okay. Now play the other video. Archie, run it.
The University of the West Indies, the St. Augustine campus, the Faculty of Law, led by Professor Rosemary Bell Antoine at the time, developed a scholarship that was based, it was called the McCandle Dagger Scholarship. It's a scholarship that was based not only on academics in any sense, because although I went to Trinity College and did Form 6, I have 8 CSEC passes, but I have 2s and 3s. I don't have no 1s. And anybody know UWI law? You know to get in today?
Yeah, like your ones.
Yeah, man. Ones like that. Right? So I can be accepted into UWI law through the regular matriculation process.
Right.
And this scholarship was designed to assist persons who not only would satisfy the basic matriculation, but would not be able to regularly get access to the Faculty of Law, but as it relates to heavily based on persons who are involved in community and social.
So all the students across Trinidad and Tobago who would like to get into the Faculty of Law have to get A's and 1s and distinctions, have to work hard. Many were rejected who had 2 A's and a B, or 3 1s and a 2. Rejected. But in comes, I didn't know he's such a PNM, he ain't studied a small fry PNM. In comes a PNM who does community work for the PNM, who only had 2s and 3s, which means you don't qualify. So you have an Olympic qualifying standard of 10.2. But in Trinidad and Tobago you run 11.2, but because you're a PNM you get in. And then you'll put that on a front page and have me celebrating that and me him know it's PNM bubble thing. Well, I am all shame for myself that I celebrate that because me know is all of this back and that. My only point was why we need to, it's very sad that we could only get one lawyer and one this and you have to, no, if you're a government, especially the government that they vote for all the time, that is not good. That's an indictment on the government that more children are not being successful from wherever they come from. But this, the twos and threes, you see, there must be equity, fairness, and competition, and that's why the PNM moves from scholarships to bursaries. So under Kamala, 400, 500 scholarships. Straightforward, whoever you are. Black, white, Chinese, Syrian, Indian, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jain, Rastafari, Orisha, Baptist, whatever, native, child, whoever. You get the grades, you get a scholarship. End of story. No subjectivity. You know, Anil don't have to like you. Tim don't have to like you. Fazal Karim don't have to like you. You don't have to put a red flag or yellow flag behind you and talk nonsense. Just do your work, achieve, and then you win your scholarship. That's called merit. The PNM is about bursary, and look what bursary is. I didn't know that. Shame on you all. What about all the other children who have twos and threes who wanted to do law, but they can't get in no law school with twos and threes? They have to find another pathway, another career choice. But not if you're a PNM. PNM, you could get any little bit of results and they will find a way to get you in there. That's what you're celebrating? Really? Rabindra Moonan, I know yours are UNC, is a vex UNC, you don't like Kamla for whatever reason, but you wrote something about contempt displayed by the Salcott, and you sound like you buy the PNM manual now, Rabindra Moonan. Let me tell you something, Rabindra Moonan. You are claiming that the Minister of Man, the lying minister who did not know pressure leaks does break pressure. The lying minister who see a man driving a van and he just so vexed with that man and that man hurt him so much that he gone and report the man as being the wrong driver of the van. Minister Marvin Gonzalez tells you, and let me read it, that he talked to the Salcott. You write a letter, Rabindra Moonan, claiming that the minister asked the Salcott to take down their maintenance and so on. How you know, Marvin, that was true? You check? Or you just believe anything a PNM say just so because you hate Kamala? Huh? Well, let's read what Marvin Gonzalez said and let's see. Gonzalez disappointed over the Salcott decision. And this is the Salcott who had to go down for maintenance. Now this is the same Marvin Gonzalez who, along with Keith Rowley, lied on the Salcott. Lied and said that the Salcott was getting 181 per cubic meter for water when it was $1 US. They lied on the Salcott and didn't talk nothing about 7 Seas when the Salcott is paying their electricity bill. And 7 Seas, the smaller company that the PNM gave a contract just before the election in 2010, they don't pay. WASA does pay their electricity bill. And they lied on the Salcott, Marvin Gonzalez and Rowley, saying that they tried to hold the country to ransom, which is not true. They lied on the Salcott. Go back and look at the Joint Select Committee when Barry Padalat and myself interrogated the then CEO and the chairman, Nanga. Go and look at it. We caught them lying and they're attacking the Salcott and lying about the take-or-pay arrangements, lying about the MIGD per day, when it was the PNM who increased it just before the 2010 election in January up to 60 million gallons per day, and then the UNC partnership came in and negotiated it down. It was the UNC who brought desalination to deal with the energy sector because the UNC had a plan and the plan was coming to fruition to boost the energy sector, and so that the demand requirements of the energy sector would be met by the Salcott and WASA would make a profit of $5 per cubic meter for the energy sector. But in comes Dotish Rowley and the PNM, and they crash the energy sector, they crash Metal Steel, they crash Point Research. 11 companies gone, and the demand for water gone down. On top of that, the leaks and WASA, they put a man who don't know nothing about WASA, and the WASA leaks water, 4.5 billion gallons of potable water wasted in the distribution network per month. So they need the Salcott water for residential, and they attack the Salcott, but the Salcott ought to go for maintenance. The Salcott did not know that because of the PNM incompetence, flooding will ravage the whole country and shut down WASA even more. But let's read what Marvin, Minister of Man Gonzalez, said. He said such a shutdown is not advisable at this time, given the adverse weather conditions impacting so many of the communities throughout the nation, and particularly in Central and South Trinidad. Right? That's his statement to the wind. He never said, Rabindra Monan, that he met with the Salcott, or he wrote the Salcott, or he asked the Salcott, and they agreed to any. He never said that. So go and check that before you go and attack the UNC. And the Salcott that was brought in by the UNC by Ganga Singh, while WASA and the Salcott would have negotiated this planned shutdown some time ago. So some time ago, the Salcott sat down with WASA and said, listen, you know, we have to maintain, that's why our water is so clean and pristine, and that's why our water don't look like tutu water like your water. That's why we, the Salcott, have clean, pristine water, because we maintain the plant and the systems to ensure that the customers get good water. Hear what Marvin Gonzalez said. Rabindra Monan, man, your tabanka is getting me annoyed now. Just so you hate Kamla, after she put you in chairman of all kind of thing. But it's all right, brother. While WASA and the Salcott would have negotiated this planned shutdown some time ago, Gonzalez said it should be immediately halted in the interest of those citizens who are still under floodwaters. Does that sound like he went and talked to the Salcott and asked the Salcott and negotiated with the Salcott and wrote them and met them and said, listen, we under flood, could you please emergency? Did he? He did not. He just come out and talk, and you, Rabindra Monan, buy this lying mouth man and go on to attack a company? Come on, man. Your tabanka making your brain not function properly, my brother. Okay? Marvin Gonzalez lie. And furthermore, I thought he wanted to shut down the Salcott and get rid of the Salcott, and the Salcott was so terrible. How come now the Salcott go down for maintenance? It is mashing up the whole country. Because you had to say, thank God the UNC brought the Salcott. That's what you have to say. Say it loud and clear. Thank the Lord, the UNC under Basta Pandey and Ganga Singh brought the Salcott. Thank the Lord, or else from Central to South will have no water. And if they get water, it will be brown like tutu water. Say it. And tell Rowley and Marvin Gonzalez, stop lying. And look who you, Rabindra Monan, look who you listening to. Run it, Archie.
And I never imagined that leaks could have prevented people from getting an efficient water supply, because it breaks down pressure and the water cannot go to communities on the upper levels.
And that is why, as Prime Minister, I was very happy after the election results came out. Then I got somebody who had no connection, no understanding, no nothing to do with WASA, to be Minister of WASA.
That's who he got. Nobody, somebody who know nothing. And that's why now 11% of you get 24/7 supply. That's why water wasting like first time. That's why in flood we have empty reservoirs, because the roads underneath the pump, the water, as they pump it, try to pump it to you, it gushing out underneath us. We are now kind of a floating swamp underneath. All of our infrastructure is getting washed away by WASA's leaks, because the pipes run along, mostly along roadways. Police officers willing to accept 4% Police Social and Welfare Association President Inspector Gideon Dixon, remember when I tell you you're playing PNM? I tell you you're playing PNM, and then last week, 2 weeks ago, you come to say, oh gosh, PNM, don't attack the police, you know, for malicious prosecution. When you play and you dance with the Balize, stay there now, Gideon. Your Balize is exposed, all right? You go on and accept 4%. You? I talked to 11 different police in the last 2 days. Not one of them agree with you, but use the police association. Well, boy, good luck to you. If them only decide to vote, you will get vote out. So all 11 that I talked to say that you are a total clown for agreeing with the PNM for that pittance 4%, that disrespect. Inflation, food price inflation, vegetable price inflation, 44%. Inflation in staples, 33%, and you come to accept 4% because you're a PNM. Look, boy, the match, you're moving on, man. Here the next one. Al-Rawi, brace for more rainfall, and hey, move your cars. And all you, move your structure, run it.
We're just asking people to take self-precaution and to push their positions with some common sense, please, as best as you can. You see the waters rising around you, move your cars, move your structures, and let's get working together. Call us if you need.
Okay, y'all move your cars. Hey guys, y'all move your cars, move your structures, guys. Hi guys. And then Junior Regrello, the madman, may have PNM, may have from South. Say, no, Alawi and Faris, I think our image, he put out a statement in the papers, say them wasn't dancing and them wasn't fretting. Go up and see if I can read it, or you just put the picture. You know that the picture? He said yes, they were there, you know, after hard work, after seeing about the citizens on Saturday during the day. Now, on Saturday in the night, the water was rising and rising and rising. Khadija Amin, Amit Sukranan, Seema Augustine, councillors, Safras Ali from St. Joseph around there, the entire St. Joseph posse, down in Bamboo, down in on the Dave Tanku, Rudal Munilal, down Barry Padarat, down in Woodland, all over this country. People were suffering, water rising. And this man say, well, Fitzgerald and Faris went and checked on them during the day. And then I have to read an editorial from the Newsday. My volume back up there, Archie. Yeah. Newsday, section A, Thursday, December 1st, 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, listen. This is a newspaper in Trinidad and Tobago. Flood of Flam. It doesn't seem to matter which party, PNM or UNC, is in power. Whenever floods happen, you can rely on the same things occurring. Why would a newspaper blatantly print total falsehood? When floods occur with Rowley, first and foremost, they occur with lower intensity and levels of rainfall because of lack of maintenance, lack of dredging of the river mouths, lack of widening, lack of maintenance of drains and management systems, lack of investment as dictated by the yellow books in the budget for drains, for drain mitigation, flood mitigation, and so on. Number one. Number two, whenever there is flooding, the Prime Minister is a ghost, cannot be seen. If rainfall is heading to the Southwest Peninsula, he goes to Tobago. If on the 5 times under his reign that Trinidad and Tobago has been devastated by floods, he has not been here one time on the ground touching one person's hand. One time he drove past flooded people in Freeport, in Carpetchima, in Cuvau, drove down and went to C3 Mall for a 1% opening of some store down there. That's what Rowley does. Furthermore, the PNM MPs go to balls and dance and are not out on the ground. The ODPM is non-existent. The army is only selectively deployed. There is no cohesion and no maneuvering and resources, emergency resources applied to help people immediately when the PNM is there. This Newsday, this Judy Raymond, because I tell you what Rowley does give she, Kamala could never give she. Why would a newspaper just blatantly lie? And I am going to show y'all, if y'all might be bored with me saying it, but why must I say it? Because newspapers lie so bad in Trinidad and Tobago. When Kamala is Prime Minister and it has flood, look at it, I'm not making this up, run it.
The country's first female Prime Minister was sworn in.
I will bear true faith and allegiance to Trinidad and Tobago, and will uphold the Constitution and the law. It is time for all of us to stand together, side by side, Trinidad alongside Tobago. Members and supporters of all political persuasions, citizens all, arm in arm, hand in hand.
But priority number one, flooding across the country, she asked to leave early to meet with the head of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management and the PS in the Office of the Prime Minister, and instructed all MPs to be on the field on Thursday before Cabinet is sworn in on Friday morning at 10.
Now is the time! No! 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 The time is no! 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 The time is no! Now is the time to vote them out! The time is no! No! Hey! 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 What time it is? No! What time it is? No! What time it is? No! Now is the time for action! What time it is? No! What time it is? No! What time it is? No! Now is the time for action! Now is the time to start to work! Now is the time we bring your hope! Now is the time for action! Now is the time to take a stand! Cause the UNC have the plan! Put up your hand if you understand!
So let's all join together as one. If you believe that the time has come.
What time it is? No! What time it is? No! What time it is? No! Now is the time for action! What time it is? No! What time it is? No! What time it is? No! Now is the time for action! Now is the time to build the nation, to seek for the children education. It's time for a leader who have a plan. Now is the time for action! Now is the time to reduce the tax. Now is the time for all crime to stop. This is the time we're not giving up.
So let's all join together as one. If you believe that the time has come.
And yet a newspaper in Trinidad and Tobago writes an editorial and says, it doesn't seem to matter which party, PNM or UNC, is in power. Whenever floods happen, you can rely on the same things occurring. A blatant, total lie. Where's this one? Where's Rowley? I dare the Newsday to show me one picture of Rowley out in flood helping people. One. I just show all you. I could have gone for about an hour showing you. And some of that, you see, that was when Congress of the People and all in the partnership had the Diego Martin Corporation, and that was down in Rowley and Imbot and them constituency, where you saw the chairman, Mr. Sammy, was there and so on. That was Kamala Indigo Martin that didn't vote for that she didn't win no seating, and she all across the country. I could have gone for 20 minutes, 30 minutes and show you video footage, pictures with thousands and thousands of people, Kamala being out there, and then she took decisions that led to faster improvement from the ODPM, the corporations, containers, mattresses. She got grants out, she got tractors out, army deployed to ensure, and that only, and those floods also occurred with heavy torrential storm rainfall, not normal rainfall. I asked the Newsday, who prints this abject total falsehoods, show me one picture of Keith Rowley helping one person during any one of the floods that have happened under his watch. Y'all are nasty human beings who can write that. How can y'all sleep at night to be so dishonest? Where is it? Where is he? Where the ghost? Ghost PM. And this is Newsday, no? This is Newsday who prints the headline, Ghost PM, but puts in the editorial, PNM and UNC flood response is the same. The UNC opposition, no resources, no ability to get self-help, to get people who in charge of self-help, Ministry of Social Development, Ministry of the People, no access to corporation, no access to Ministry of Local Government, no access to the ODPM, the UNC out there, and you have UNC councillors and MPs out there helping people because with help of other citizens, and you ain't seeing no PNM. Oh, you see Faris Gallery, the tight pants and the tight jersey, get run out and then go on in a ball to dance around. 150, then the Guardian now, 150 million flood relief plan, and they lie, $40 million for flood relief, you know. They put 100 million to fix road, and they say that they add up the two and try to pretend like the PNM do something. Furthermore, what is calling out numbers? Calling out numbers without any sort of analysis about any idea of how much people have lost. 40 million, what that mean? But they come to try to placate, to try to pretend that the PNM cares, that they've done something. Rowley has done nothing. He does not care. 100 million in road repairs now. Look the Newsday too. 150 million in flood relief. Great is the PNM. Nonsense! Look right there. 100 million for road repairs. The roads bad because the PNM left them to deteriorate already. Road repairs is not flood relief. And how much relief was given from the 25 million before? Who get that? Kareem Marcel? Or people who waving red flag? Government to spend 150 million on flood relief initiatives. But then the greatest one comes now. HDC boss. Mitigation measures coming to flood affected developments. This is as Noel Garcia went into an HDC development with KFC to hand out, right? But listen to HDC boss Noel Garcia. Mitigation measures will be put in place at the Housing Development Corporation's Real Springs development in Valsayn and Riverdale and Harmony Hall in Gasparilla following the recent flooding experienced by tenants. This was disclosed by HDC chairman Noel Garcia during a telephone interview as he addressed how the HDC would respond following flooding experienced in these communities. Garcia said the measures are of similar nature to what they put in place in Greenvale area after its disastrous floods. He said the HDC has over 600 developments throughout Trinidad and Tobago and admitted that only recently 3 of those developments suffered some type of flooding. He, however, made it clear that the recent floods had nothing to do with poor infrastructural work or any fault by HDC. The Minister of Works and Local Government said the rainfall was unprecedented, right? He says. Okay. Then the Guardian says this: greater accountability needed by planning authorities. The flooding disaster of the past 2 weeks has not only underscored the lack of proper drainage plan, but the need for closer scrutiny of the operations and approval systems in use by our planning authorities. Guardian. Friday, December 2nd, 2022. At the very least, the head of town and country planning should be brought before a joint select committee to explain in painful detail why the agency is failing to manage rampant, unplanned development, which in recent times has been blamed for many of the flooding woes created in several areas across the country previously unaffected by such issues. Okay, so the Guardian says, town and country planning, the public servants must be dragged before the Joint Select Committee. Why have they failed to do proper work and planning and so on? Archie, do me a huge favor and pull up a front page and a story from the Guardian newspaper on November 4th, 2018. Read along with me, citizens. Read along. This is from the, leave it there, the right spot. This is page 3, front page picture. On Friday, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley confirmed that pressure to provide state housing to a growing market meant that the HDC was sometimes forced to bypass approvals and procedures to complete projects on time. Rowley served as Minister of Housing from November 2003 to November 2007, and during that time, 2 other projects were started and had to be stopped because of the lack of proper approvals. Leave that there now. Keith Christopher Rowley admitted and confessed in the very Guardian newspaper that when he was housing minister, he and his HDC board broke the law, did not go with the advice of the planning agency, town and country planning. When approvals were denied, Keith Rowley and his government went ahead illegally to do work, and some of those projects, including Greenvale and Edinburgh 500, those towers that are a scar on the central landscape, and Harmony Hall, which Noel Garcia just said, flooded out. Keith Rowley said, and I quote, and it was in the Guardian, you know, and the Guardian is now writing an editorial to attack the public servants, the town and country planners, to put them before the Joint Select Committee. Guardian, why you don't tell Rowley that he must answer? Because this confession is in your newspaper, front page, Sunday, November 4th, 2018. And Rowley said, confirmed that pressure to provide housing to a growing market meant the HDC was sometimes forced to bypass approvals. Bypass approvals means break the law. Break the law. The law is that you must have town and country approvals. Rowley admitted that as Minister of Housing, he and Noel Garcia broke the law by bypassing approvals and procedures to complete projects on time. And the sad thing is the projects never were completed, because in this article it goes, you can put up more images, Archie. It goes on to show that under Rowley and the PNM, projects would go cost overruns with Noel Garcia Rowley, and Al-Rawi was on the HDC board also, who did the Greenvale project, despite Camille Robinson Regis telling them, and that's the Edinburgh project that stopped. Leave it up. That's what Rowley did, wasting billions of dollars of your money, and y'all elevated him to Prime Minister. This is the Guardian front page, and this is Rowley's work. Rowley bypassing approvals, Rowley admitting he broke the law, and the Guardian now coming to write an editorial to blame public servants like Gregory Aboud. Same thing he's trying to say. But the article continued, you know, and she put up a next set. You should have another one where it showed that under Keith Rowley and the PNM, cost overruns went up to approximately on average 194% over and above the cost that was budgeted. And the projects took 8 years longer than they should have. And then the same report done by experts and consultants said that the cost overruns under Munilal and Jerlin John were down to 4% only, as opposed to 194% under Rowley and Noel Garcia. And the projects were finished within 4 years as opposed to 8 years on this part. But the Guardian does not say Noel Garcia and Rowley should be dragged before the criminal court, should be dragged before the Joint Select Committee. According to the report the TNT Guardian received, large projects contracted between 2005 to 2010 under the joint venture, this is under Rowley and Noel Garcia, overran their contract sums by 194% and took 8 years on average to complete. The engineer said the average cost of a unit under these projects was $832,000. He said large projects contracted between 2010 to 2015. This is under Rudal Munilal and Jerlin John. The model, meanwhile, overran the contract sum by 4%. 4% over a 4-year period to completion. That is near perfection, and took 4 years on average to complete. The average cost of a unit was $1,057,000. According to the documents on Greenvale, and it continued, and it showed Greenvale and Harmony Hall and all of this. And Noel Garcia is trying to say that none of the flooding in HDC areas had to do with anything the HDC did. Noel Garcia, is you lie or Rowley lie? Because Rowley said you all had to bypass approvals, you all had to break the law to so-called produce on time, but you were 8 years you were late and overruns. That is Rowley and that is Noel Garcia. Las Alturas double twins, and you all make one prime minister and one superman to spend all the people money without procurement, and you open your eyes, your ears and your brain and vote for that, really and truly? And then we hear now the Newsday editorial, procurement law skittishness. And then we go back to this. If there was any doubt about the importance of enforcing the Procurement Act, it should have been settled by the shenanigans of the THA in recent months. The new administration has run roughshod over established practices to build an ill-advised stage in the sea, while also taking shortcuts in procuring services for roads and repairs. So when Rowley admitted, and Rowley was taking shortcuts of 1.8 billion of projects as Minister of Housing with Noel Garcia, you ain't say he was running roughshod over anything and processes. He admitted it. That's Rowley's quote in the Guardian, that he said they bypass approvals. They had no approvals, but they had to go forward. That man confessed. You all have nothing to say about him. You come to talk about PDP with a stage in the sea. This stage in the sea, we talk about $1.8 billion. We talk about people suffering, nearly drowned and lost everything in Greenvale. Now in other projects across the part, we talking about Edinburgh Towers, that scar that has been there since 2007, 87 million Harmony Hall. We talking about 200% overruns with Rowley and Noel Garcia, and you all uphold that and criticize others and talk about PDP with a stage in the sea. You all have no shame. Your dishonesty knows no bounds. And then I have to listen to this. After all this Noel Garcia and this Rowley and this wickedness and this evil and this PNM partying and dancing while people suffering, listen to the Minister of Bundles now talk about Rowley. Here it is. First it was Sagram Singh Sukral, and now Bundles. Run it.
So I want you to not let your heart be troubled. You believe in God? Believe also in us. Believe in the leaders in service and believe in your party. This party is not a fly-by-night party. On December the 4th, we'll be celebrating our convention.
Believe in God and believe in us. Lady, you losing it. You equating Rowley and you and that cabinet to God. I think I'm going to just leave that day, to let that soak into all of y'all who are viewing. Believe in God and believe in Rowley, believe in Minister Bundles and believe in the leadership team that he say here put a slate, and believe in the PNM. God and the PNM. Look. TNT needs all hands on deck, says Rowley. Where Rowley? Where he hands? Everybody else hand on deck, but 2 hands missing. Where Rowley? Where the ghost? Rowley put out a Facebook post to say all hands on deck, and he disappeared. Evacuation going on. Schools closed. Now leptospirosis warning, and we have a druggist as a minister of health who does not even help his neighbors who flood out in Greenville Avenue, any name it, Greenville Avenue, Valsin South. He bring in people to clean up his place and leave the elderly outside in the mud. His neighbors needed help. A man asked him, well, boss, give me some help. He said, no, Franco Mendial sing, I beg you to say Anil lie. And when your electronic gate fell down, through the flood waters, you had a truck coming. The truck drives so fast that it pushed water back up into your neighbor's yard that the neighbors themselves had cleaned out. That is the heartlessness of the PNM. San Juan farmers hit by flooding. Christmas prices will be higher. That's for you people. That's for the citizens. You all vote for Rowley. Valsin South flooded for the 5th time in 2 months. Well done, Singh. Consumers under pressure as cost of living continues to rise. The Prime Minister sounds the alarm from where? From somewhere dry with a golf club. You know Rowley went and make a speech down in some little golf thing for children, some little golf program in Chagaramas. He ain't come and talk to nobody in Bamboo 2, in Woodland, in Greenville, in Real Spring, in anywhere that flood out. He ain't talk to nobody who was in traffic for 11 hours because them couldn't open a northbound lane. But this is the greatest, Archie. Archie, I nearly choke on my doubles on Sunday morning with my coffee. Express, Sunday 27 November 2022. 2023 is a year to rebuild, says the Express. With this latest round of flooding, the government should now be fully awake to the seriousness of the problems caused by a season's relentless rainfall. It should recognize that the problems far exceed the capacity of any pothole repair program, and that what is needed is nothing less than road reconstruction and land stabilization and so on. So the government should now be awake, says the Express. In other words, yes, leave the PNM there. Yes, they have failed. Yes, they are incompetent. Yes, they legalize thieving. Yes, they are heartless. Yes, Rowley don't care. But leave them there. 2023, they will do better. Really, Express? But Express, it wasn't you all who said all of these things. Archie, run it. Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. And you see, come rain, shine, rain, flood, chaos, whatever. douglAR Politics, the team, Archie, Alan, Vishnu, we always start on time. Why is that? Because time is the beginning, punctuality is the beginning of discipline. Discipline leads to everything else. Discipline leads to success. So that's why. All right, we got the wrong clip. We try to get it. Check the other video then. You got the other one, the other piece. All right, well, fast forward. And then we go that right. Start on no. Feed from wherever it was that woke up at Telbert, fall asleep, narcolepsy, sativa, high, ignorant, arrogant, dotish, pomsite, Rasta Hines has just eclipsed, equal the record 550. No. And fast forward all to the other one. Actually, go to the next not video. An incompetent, sleepy quarter. So resign. That's the PNM way. Yeah, the timing up, but there were 2 videos that you joined, right? Or you only joined, you didn't have the other video with a different jersey in a different setting? I thought it was the same video. Alright. Well, let me just say it. I prefer, you see me, I like to show y'all because I don't want y'all to feel a makeup thing. But I had gone through and read an editorial, scathing editorial that the Express had written on procurement, and that the PNM does not even want to proclaim the procurement legislation that they had gutted that Kamala Prasad had left there. Then at the end of that, I also said, but Express, you had written scathing condemnations of the PNM on Nelson Gate. So procurement, Nelson Gate, crime scourge, education, flooding, infrastructure, and about 4 others, all scathing. You even called Fitzgerald Hines dense. But then you come now and you say, well, 2023, let's go PNM. You could do better. Y'all should be awake now. Let's try to do good. Really? So the country has to continue to suffer in every sphere that you have condemned Express because you want to leave the PNM there? At what point do you say, Rowley, you should resign? You have failed dramatically in everything you've tried to do. You are a total incompetent, and the country needs to breathe from your evil oppression. When you're going to reach there, look here, the Alsing slams Naket's call for Commission of Inquiry on COVID handling. Really, the Alsing? Because as an MP Tuesday, in my constituency day, the day I meet constituents, and prefer to have been in my constituency office today, meeting and treating with my constituents who've been affected by flooding, landslides, everything else that goes with it. Let me tell you how that touch the Alsing is. The Alsing is trying to gallery. When 4,500 people have died of COVID, when over 6,000 businesses have closed down, when over 80,000 people have lost jobs, the worst performance in COVID-19 in the globe, where 9 out of 10 people who reached the ICU were dying, where we had no vaccination and we only had 51.6% right now. He trying to ridicule David Nacket by saying, why you bring me here in the Senate? When people flood out, right? He say, hey, I prefer to be in my constituency office dealing with people who flood out. He said, I'm not making it up, you know. He said, I'd have preferred to have been in my constituency office today, meeting and treating with my constituents who've been affected by flooding, landslides, and everything else. So in his arrogant mind, he don't even know these words come out of his mouth. People who flood out, people who landslide, block them in and mash up the wall and the house, them need to leave where them is and come to meet he in the constituency office, and you all vote for these human beings. Petitbourg woman pleads for retaining wall. That the Alsing constituent, you know, PNM constituent, Terence the Alsing, Petitbourg resident Marva Smith, first experienced a landslide at a home over 2 decades ago. After years of promises, she said, even a visit by officials as recently as last year, nothing has been done. And with the recent bad weather causing another landslide nearby, she is concerned. Smith, who lives at Akal Road in Petitbourg, San Juan, told Newsday the second landslide happened on the side of a house on Sunday. Her home is high up and collapsing. She said, I even got a petition that had over 100 signatures to take to the MP for St. Joseph, MP Terence the Alsing office, to let him understand how many people this thing will help. Up to now, no response. Traffic nightmare near Caroni River on Tuesday, right? Remember that traffic? Some people left town at 3:45 and reach home after midnight. Anybody with a brain has suggested that the police and the government, the Minister of Works and Transport, the Prime Minister, and the Minister of National Security should have ordered that the northbound lane be accessed by the people heading south, at least part thereof. But both the government and the TTPS are adamant there was no need to open the northbound lane of the Uriah Butler. No need. So the police and the PNM say, while all was in traffic for 8 hours and nothing moving on that side, that it make no sense. It would not have helped the situation to open a lane or two and let it go down that way. And you all vote for that. And here the Express. So Express, I don't believe you're going to write another scathing editorial against the PNM and then tell me, well, 2023, let's go PNM. You could do better, man. Let's see some improvement. I don't believe. Let me read this and see. Over and over, the government keeps revealing itself as out of touch and out of step with the needs of the population it was elected to govern. The complete absence of managerial intervention during yesterday's mammoth traffic snarl that kept thousands of commuters, including children, trapped in traffic for hours on end was a shocking dereliction of duty that underscored the government's lack of leadership in a time of crisis. But you're right. Come on, government, 2023, you all got to wake up. You all got to do better. This is 7 years into this government. Them sleeping more than the 7 dwarfs and Sleeping Beauty. Trouble was telegraphed with enough advance notice for the authorities to have been proactive in implementing an early intervention plan. Those words are too big for the PNM. By Monday night, the Caroni River had already broken its banks in different places, resulting in water sweeping onto the highway. That was the moment for disaster management officials to summon all relevant agencies and activate a plan to preempt the horrendous situation that would unfold the next day. The ODPM did not move in 2017, 2018, 2020, and now in for the 2022. In the last 5 months, they have not moved. You now still waiting for them to move? You now still waiting for Fitzgerald Hines to wake up? You now waiting for Rowley to come off the golf course still? If that had proved inadequate on Tuesday, then the response should have been stepped up with the opening up of a section of the northbound side of the Uriah Butler Highway to ease the pressure on the partially flooded south lane. That is the Express. But PNM and DCP Jacobs, the PNM Police Commissioner, hand-selected and hand-picked by Rowley, said no. We did not open it, we will not open it, we did not open it, we should not have opened it, and opening it would have made no difference. But Express says so, everybody who would have brain says so, Express says so. Let's say a Guardian, and there's the Guardian of PNM, poor traffic management by TTPS. Minister of Works and Transport Rohan Sininan and National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines need to explain to the citizens why thousands of them sat in crippling gridlock traffic out of Port of Spain on Tuesday. What transpired next, however, is something this newspaper hopes citizens will never have to experience again. Really, we'll experience it again and again, and each time it gets worse because the PNM is incompetent, and you just cannot say it. You cannot get yourselves to say it. Resign, call elections now. Why you don't put a front page? Elections now. Enough PNM, enough pain, enough discomfort and disrespect. Many seeking to return home to help deal with flooding woes in some areas asked why a portion of the northbound lane wasn't open. Well, you say that, but the PNM and the PNM police selected commissioner thwarted the meritless misbehaving public office, say no, all they wrong, them right, them right. Any hope of this was dispelled by 6 p.m. when Minister Sininan told the country there was no need to do so. We are certain Minister Sininan and Hines have access to better technology and could have provided the authorities with information to make a more learned decision on the situation. This media house, for example, was able to make at least 18 posts on the unfolding traffic congestion, which persisted. You were also able to make a post that Fitzgerald Hines had been fired. And then Rowley, you pull back, boy. We had to call you ghosts who pull back. Rowley, you pull back. Which begs the question, who is advising the ministers? To add insult to injury, all the ministers in the office of the Prime Minister, Simon de Nobrega, would tell Guardian Media yesterday, was that the Works and Transport Ministry was responsible for making a decision on alternative traffic routes when these situations arise, and that any such decision is made in conjunction with the TTPS. Thanks, boy de Nobrega. Meanwhile, we can't help but wonder aloud if our authorities are really serious about resolving issues or whether it is about playing the blame game. Much better needs to be done 7 years into Rowley. Yes, it still better needs to be done, eh? A man in Couva Point, Archie Partner, say put aside differences to fix crime. President of the Couva Point Research Chamber, Mukesh Ram Singh, who tried to go up our PNM seat, telling the opposition help them to fix crime. Rowley is the Prime Minister, Rowley picked the cabinet, Rowley picked the National Security Minister, Rowley has all the resources, Rowley can make policy, Rowley picked the Police Commissioner, Rowley choose who he wants, Rowley in charge of the Parliament and the Senate, Rowley in charge of every single board, Rowley in charge of taxes, Rowley in charge of the budget, Rowley in charge of expenditure, Rowley in charge, boy. You're stupid or what? Huh? So tell Rowley do your work. You looking for an exit? Move in and PNM shambles. What? My boy, DCP Jacob, give yourself a B+. Really, DCP Jacob? And then he say, this was the interesting part, you know, why only me? Why only I should resign? The head of customs should resign. And what about those who making policy, those up in the government? Yes, DCP Jacobs, you are correct, sir. Not only you should resign, you should take the lead. Be a man. You failed. Imagine if you, no, none of us have to grade ourselves, right? But imagine you and all can't even give yourself an A. If you can't give yourself an A, then come out the people work now. So you in charge of wheel lines, and you find you performing at a B+. I don't know what to say again, you know. And then the ball about mediation and conflict resolution is key to stopping murders. Fellas jump out a car, no scanner because DCP Jacob and Fitzgerald say that Gary thing. So don't find no gun. Man, jump over the R15. Excuse me. My name is Anil. I've come to mediate this. If you speak in nice tones and you use, yes, don't use harsh, no, don't curse. And then yes, your turn to talk. Okay, don't shoot yet. Don't shoot yet. Let me mediate. DCP Guns, you is one dodo head boy. I don't know what to say. And then here the news day. Annus horribilis. By any standards, it has been an annus horribilis over 500, well it's 561 murders now. What is unquestionable is the need for an escalation in the overall response from the government. You now need an escalation. The government has failed from since September 7, 2015 to now. You need an escalation in effort. We feel it is relevant to note that the state of the economy is such that the conditions of crime are ripe. The state of the economy is shattered because the PNM is incompetent, Colm is a dunce, Rowley is a dunce, all of them are no good, and they must all go. And only the newspapers and the media can do that because the constitution is ridiculous that the incompetent man had to call the election. The failure had to call the election. The man who legalizing thieving have to call the election. The man who handpicking commissioner of police have to call the election. So the only thing could force them to call the election is you, the mass media, and you all are still licking Rowley's K-packs. That's why the country is in a mess. One rumor that should have been true, it's so late I can't even read this to you. But this is another scathing editorial by the Express against the PNM and Fitzgerald Hines, basically saying that Fitzgerald Hines should have been fired, that rumor was the easiest rumor to be believed, and it was one that brought celebration across the whole country. But yet Express, after all these editorials, you still want the PNM to remain there. Why? Because you make money in advertising, because your shareholders are contractors who get money, your shareholders are making money and billions of profits in energy sector. Why? They can fail. It's not possible for the PNM to fail any worse. It's not. It's time for them to go. Come on, Express. Grow some. Come on, you can do it. This is about your 11th scathing editorial on a different topic each time. The Express even went to talk to people in the street about this one. They ask him about, What do you think about Fitzgerald Hines? The language was mostly colorful and some unprintable. Somebody say, an incompetent cuss word, the most beep, 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 beep in the People's National Movement. I talk things, I see it, and he only talks and talks and talks, but nothing from here at all. This is all about Fitzgerald, Ethelbert, Sleepy, Sativa Hines. He give people a swimming pool, and he feel he did the world for them, but people suffering, the man said. Listen, he in government a while, and he would still be talking about the UNC. Come on, man. In my opinion, the whole PNM government should change, said another man. I am not political, but in terms of the Ministry of National Security, where he's supposed to be dealing with, he is incompetent, as they have no plans to bring down the crime in Trinidad and Tobago. The next man said, his ministry is extremely important, no plans, and he is wasting time. Another man said, when I heard he got fired, it was joy, yes, because things are not all right. Another one said, as far as I am concerned, they should get rid of all of them, the entire PNM cabinet. Then they asked the big question on Sativa Hines. Do you think Fitzgerald Hines should be removed as Minister of National Security? Yes, and promote him to president as nothing happens there too. Yes, he should remove himself from politics permanently. Yes, they should remove the entire government. Call an election now. Citizens forget their opinions mean nothing to this government. Next one, honestly, I didn't even know why he was given this portfolio in the first place. Another one, a huge yes, but to put whom? There is no one in this government who can do the job. Another one, yes, he's a waste of time. Things are worse than ever since he is there. A failure, get him removed. A next one, hell yes. But the bigger question is, do you think the PNM should be removed from the governing country? Hell yes to that too. A next one, I went to school for 3 months and I still brighter than he. Another person, he should be removed from Trinidad. I think the entire cabinet should be exported to China, says another citizen. Another one, all the PNM should be removed because not one is doing anything for the country. But yet, you have a man talking and lying and bawling about he had court clothes. He don't even have court clothes to deal with Gianti. He come now. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. The PNM made these stupid, spurious accusations about Kamla Persad-Bissessar and she house. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, when she was Prime Minister, brought into Parliament a box of bills of every bit of material purchased from since 2002 coming forward for the construction of a home with Dr. Bissessar, and Dr. Bissessar keeps meticulous records. So it's on the Hansard and it's in the Parliament that the nonsense rumors about a contractor building she house and so on was total lies. But listen to this Foster one. This one who had 1.8 million in the venture credit union account and an next 4.4. This one that the special branch looking at. This one that the anti-corruption bureau investigated and looking for production orders. This one, this Foster Cummings. Listen to this lying clown. Go ahead.
Coming south. Never again, Kamla, never again. I know he worked hard on build his house. The next person who vying for Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago is SIS Bill hers. They tape off the sign of the vehicles rolling out of a pink house down in south. Never again, Kamla, never again. And don't worry, I buy some court clothes.
And look at the fools laughing at total lies. Stuart Small, Pin Young. Look at Maxine Richards' daughter of former president, who must be rolling in the grave to know his daughter is so silly, laughing at gallery and laughing at lies. Total fabrication that Kamla answered bill by bill. How Indian does build their house? Chirp, chirp. A whole box of bills. porches. The house was built SIS. The house was began construction all back in 2002, 2003, and she put all on the record. And this fool comes up there and look at these idiots, including Scotland, Keith Scotland. But you notice he'll laugh too hard because he know a bit about the law. But that's what PNM does. They come out and they just repeat a lie, a lie, a lie. And for the community making a great speech, making a bunch of dunces laugh at lies. But that's why the country is in a total mess, because these people are in charge, and no amount of lies can stop you from understanding this is the worst government in the history of the Caribbean. Nothing is functioning. I'm giving you all homework between now and the next douglAR politics. Tell me, send it in on Facebook, send in a comment. Tell me one thing that is working, one ministry that is working good. Tell me one policy that the PNM under Raoul in 7 years has brought about to effect change positive in the lives of children, of the elderly, of women. Something. There is nothing. And if it wasn't for the mass media that is corrupt and biased and prints lies daily, if it wasn't for an EBC that is warped and cheats and steals elections, we would not be in this mess. There is no way that that bag of incompetence could ever beat Kamala Prasad-Bissessar and her UNC team on brain, experience, track record, performance, beat old talk anytime. So as we go, Archie, I will tell you, we still have great people who are creative and so on. I could tell you, I love the culture and the carnival and so on, the music. I could tell you that Viking Ding Dong is going to be the next superstar soca artist. Already for this year, he's come out with songs, a groovy soca, power soca, jumpy soca, chutney soca, a pan song. He's come out with beautiful music, a plethora of music. Well done, Viking Ding Dong. And then this young man, whenever it's Christmas time, you must get up around. But under PNM is pressure, readiness, and good night.
Well, boy, it's too much pressure right now. Okay. Too much pressure right now. You can't take it. You can't take it.